What is going on, guys and girls? It's Ghost Robo, and we have an excellent show for you today. Back on the podcast track with some new friends joining the show for the first time. We have longtime old man Scott Game Riot.
Hello.
You are now a homeowner, aren't you?
I am, officially.
You actually moved in, or kind of moved in.
Yeah, we're sort of like getting the place ready. I'll probably talk about more, I guess, in the podcast, but
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
we're bolted.
Very, very lovely. You're just... I feel old at 25, but I don't have my own house or my own living girlfriend yet. So you're going to be 70 before you know it, Scott. Just watch out.
Oh, just for that.
And joining us for the first time is Volatile Gabe, one of my longtime friends on YouTube, finally able to bring you on. How's it going, bud?
I didn't buy a house, so I kind of feel left out.
Oh, you're the odd man out. You did move recently, though.
Yeah, I moved, but to an apartment, so.
Okay, well, that's
yeah, I mean,
awesome.
mine's an apartment, really, so I just bought an apartment. But
Yeah, we technically all have different, like, Scott, you got the flat.
Yeah.
Gabe, you got the apartment. I'm probably going to the house, but yeah.
Alright. No, and I think you guys just coordinated this, too. I'm surprised
Yeah,
Scott isn't
timing.
on an airplane right now.
We've all got our own, like, separate little different tiers of homes. Yeah, houses are weird. Like, looking at them, it feels like such an adult thing, and yet when I got there, they're like, sign the papers, do all this stuff, and I was like, it was the same as buying a 3DS at Best Buy. Like, you just sign the dotted line and give them your money, and there you have a house. Like, it seems like such this incredibly huge, monumentous thing, but in actuality, it's like, just...
Well, it's a lot more money than the 3DS, to be fair.
Okay, it's a lot more money, but I'm just saying in terms of, like, the process, in my head, I thought, like, oh my god, I'm going to have to, like, sell my soul or, like, have some kids or something like that, but no, you just go there and sign 40 times, and before you know it, you have a...
I guess the UK is like 10 times worse, because the UK took me it took us about, we bidded on it around May and got it accepted in May, I think it was, and it got accepted in like December. It took absolutely forever. So there's so many issues and money and horrible.
And you're like redoing the whole place, right?
Pretty much. I mean, we're just like putting our own little feel onto it. So we're painting every wall different colour. We're doing the flooring pretty much in most of the rooms.
Do you have like a Ghost Robo mural on one of the walls?
I do, yeah. It's in my office.
Now, is it my Ghost logo or is it me personally?
It's you.
Oh,
it's a picture of you in that
Well,
glasses.
you don't remember this, but you were drugged, and we actually stuck you in clay, so he actually has a body,
Oh
an exact body double of you.
Oh, it's like a Han Solo replica for the new Star Wars movie, but Ghost Robo.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
That's beautiful. Yeah, and what's also funny is we also have like this strange tier of relationships too, because you got Gabe over here at the top of that tier, and then Scott who's moved in with his girlfriend, and then me who has a girlfriend but not moved in. So we've got very interesting. We're like just a very oscillating roller coaster of livelihood right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 5 years deep in that.
I'm 10 years deep.
Oh wow! No, well, she's like my fiance though. Like, you're just moving in with her for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Still honeymoon period, yeah.
Oh, no, I've been living with mine for years, so.
You guys are crazy. I have a girlfriend of almost 4 months. Does that count for anything? No prizes won there, but definitely we are about to hand out some prizes for the year in gaming. Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, big years for all of them. The first full year of the next-gen consoles, and we're going to kind of go through and see who comes out on top in terms of their releases and just the system performance in general. I think that we'll start off with Sony, because that seems to be the fan favorite across YouTube. Like, when I look at comments, I see the most love for the PlayStation 4. You guys agree?
I would definitely agree, yeah. I mean, Xbox is still got the American population behind it.
Yeah, because I do think it's shifting a little bit. I mean, with the big price drop that Microsoft had for the holidays, that definitely won a lot of. That's
been mega, isn't it? The bundles and stuff as well. Like they've been literally banging the price down as well, and every day I see like a brand new deal. Like you guys tweet about it or something. Oh my god, this console's getting cheaper and cheaper with like more and more games.
I see a lot of people taking that as a negative, like, oh, Microsoft has to drop the price again, oh, like, as if it's this bad thing, instead of embracing it as, like, holy crap, they're trying to get more of these systems out there, and realizing that they make their money on software, so even if they take a hit on the console, like, that's cool with Microsoft. They just need to get inside of homes, and so I agree. Like, I think it's great that they're making these price cuts. There was a deal at Target the other day where you got a $70 gift card with a $350 bundle with Assassin's Creed, Unity, and Black Flag. So that's like a $280 system plus 2 games that technically you could flip for probably, $60, $70, and you're getting like a $200 Xbox One, which is just insane to me.
Did you guys see that Sony also lowered it to like today, pretty much?
I did. They had like a
Really?
Walmart, like a $330 deal, right?
Yeah, it's $330 in certain retailers, and I'm sure that's going to spread out to be widespread, just like the Microsoft one at first. But
Right.
yeah, that's weird.
The interesting thing is Nintendo now is looking pricier than ever as they refuse to drop the Wii U.
I bought a black one recently as well, because I went to get the black one.
Yeah.
'Cause I had the white one, which wasn't working for me. It would run out of space and stuff. I was like, I need the black one. It just costs so much money over here as well. It's just like, ugh.
8 gigabytes is such a weird size for that system. Like, in hindsight, I wonder if they really regret that, because so many games, Bayonetta 2, like a lot of these Nintendo titles are bigger than that entire white system's memory, so like it's virtually useless. You're absolutely right.
I mean,
does it require like any? Does it require any install as well, like install based, like install the game into? So if I play like Bayonetta, do I have to install the game onto the system as well?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Thank God.
But what I was going to say is that they just assume you could just plug in a hard drive and you're fine.
They just assume you have a subconscious accessory, yeah. But if we start, there's massive screaming in the background, which is Detroit Lions fans going crazy. That would be my mother. But thank God.
Is that good news then?
I hope so. I'm now like shaking over here, like hoping something really.
Do you want me to tell you what happened?
No, it's okay. I'd rather be in the dark. This is not a football podcast. We're gonna scare Scott away. So Sony started off the year with Infamous Second Son, and I think a lot of people expected them to be sort of that game would launch them forward into a really excellent year for PlayStation. When we all first played Infamous, I think we all loved it, but it seemed to just fall off pretty quickly.
That intro was amazing. I was literally the first hour I was in love with the game. And then obviously it slowly did sort of fall away for me, I think, a little bit. It didn't really have the impact of Infamous 2 for me. The story was a bit lackluster and stuff. I mean, the graphics and stuff, the colour and the powers are amazing, but
it's a brilliant game, visually. I actually took cell phone pics of that game and sent them to friends and was like, holy crap, next gen is here. But Game of the Year discussions are going on now, and I don't hear anyone even mentioning Infamous as a potential top title.
I keep hearing a lot of people mention Middle-earth, which is
weird.
Well, I'm
how much of that is just that people forget that Infamous is technically this year because it came out so early.
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's more just the impact of that game wasn't that big. The story wasn't good enough.
Huh?
I do think the time of year does impact some things a little bit.
Yeah.
If you look at something like Mordor, like you brought up, that's one where is it gaining momentum because of where it was released, what was released around it. For example, October was expected to be very crowded, and so you were going to have things like Evolve and Arkham Knight and Witcher 3 all around that time. Mordor could have been totally lost to the media eye had those other titles come out, and I think a lot of it does kind of have to do with its release window. Now, Infamous sort of gets a double whammy because its release window wasn't the greatest, and I do think it survives so much on its spectacle and not a whole lot on substance.
Yeah, I don't think it deserves to be in Game of the Year contention, really. When we're saying that it's not being mentioned, I'm not really surprised, and I think there's better games than that.
There's two things I've enjoyed this year a lot, and it's really weird. It's the DLC for Last of Us, which is brand new, and also I really like this little indie game. It's called Valiant Hearts. I like that game today.
Yeah, I love Valiant Hearts.
That game was great.
Is Valiant Hearts, is that a UbiArt game? Or
it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, they've been pretty successful with that UbiArt stuff. It's interesting what they're doing there, and I would be kind of interested. I wonder the Assassin's Creed side-scrolling game that's coming out. It's set in China, and it's not a UbiArt game, but it seems to borrow some of that sort of mentality. It's really pretty and different, and kind of taking a new take on an established franchise, and maybe that's something that I don't know, that kind of a thing, revamping AAA titles that are ongoing series. It's kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything on that game yet, but it sounds good.
I mean, the thing is, they're just smaller. There's not millions and millions of dollars going into it. There's not 400 people working on it. So I think that's why they can get away with that. Even Child of Light, it's sort of been greenlighted for a sequel already, just because it might not have sold millions of copies, but the team that worked on it is so small that it was still profitable for them.
Definitely. I mean, I like the sort of indie vibe. Well, a little bit of like a scary factor that we might go a little bit too indie-ish, like with every game, like every week being an indie title. But I like where some indies are going, that's for sure.
I think this year was really weird in the sense that indie games became so prominent that every week, like you said, you had a new one. And I've talked about this before, like instead of, for example, something like Limbo being so memorable because it had a unique art style, now you have a game a week that has the Limbo art style. And so you sort of lose out on a lot of that luster. On the other end of the spectrum, we have the AAA games seeming to fall apart in a lot of weird ways. You know, the Assassin's Creed Unities that come out broken, the Master Chief Collections that come out completely inept, the Destinies that seem to disappoint more than they do excel, and kind of creating this weird lack of a middle class. Like, I was trying to think of what games fill that role of like a really good mid-tier title this year, and like Mordor would be a good example, yet because of the other games being pretty poor, we're shifting Mordor like to the top of the heap, and people are saying like, oh, that's a Game of the Year contender, which I just find strange that this is the first full year of these next-gen consoles, and we didn't really see a big push. Like, the future doesn't seem as bright as it should be at this point in their cycle.
Yeah, I'm excited for next year. I mean, what was that?
Football, I apologize.
Well, someone just died or something on the show.
Family and football, it's a bad combination.
It sounds like it's going well, though. But
I hope so.
what was I going to say yet?
I just feel bad because I know what's happening.
It's got to be good. It's got to be good. We're huge Detroit fans, so if there's cheering, it has to be good.
No comment, but you know, you mentioned middle tier games, and really, I struggle to think of any besides Mordor and maybe South Park and
South Park. I enjoy South Park.
It's weird to think that was this year because it was a last gen game, sort of like Dark Souls 2. They came out, around the same early Q1 time, and again, I think they get forgotten because they were, quote, old games.
Jeez,
yeah,
weird,
that's what I mean. Yeah, I mean, it was a huge disservice to not put them on PS4 and Xbox One.
The good news, though, is that I think we're done with the sort of last-gen only thing. It seems, if anything, we're going to be trending so much towards next-gen only. You see Ubisoft committing that Assassin's Creed Victory is going to be a next-gen only game for next year. Call of Duty seems to be leaning more and more in that direction. Evolve, Witcher 3, so on and so forth, Batman. So for adopters of the new platforms, it definitely is good news going forward.
Definitely. I mean, I'm worried about Ubisoft. I mean, next year, the amount of games they're going to be coming out, I think, will be relentless, just constant games, and I think they'll probably be all broken.
What do they have for next year? I mean, they've got
Division, Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed.
I always told you Division wasn't going to come out in 2015, but knowing how they released Unity and Watch Dogs,
yeah, they'll probably release it.
I do think Division is going to come out even if it's not ready.
Yeah, Ubisoft has a sequel to everything they put out this year coming out next year, pretty much. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but it sort of feels like that.
You think we'll get a Far Cry 5?
No way.
Okay, so a year off on Far Cry, a year off on Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs might be next year, maybe.
I think Watch Dogs has to be 2016, right?
Yeah, I think they have to do something else. They can't just...
I mean, they've got Rainbow Six, right?
Yep.
So that's going to be sort of their... I would imagine that's their big fall title with Assassin's Creed.
Well, it depends if the Division's coming out or not.
Division, yeah.
No, Division isn't coming out 15.
You don't think so? You think it's going to get pushed again?
Oh, absolutely. Like,
I just think they would need 3 games. What else do they have? This year they had The Crew, Far Cry 4, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs.
I mean, they have Prince of Persia. I don't know if they ever plan to make one of those again.
I just wonder, I feel like the 3 of those have to come out. Unless they're going to announce a new Far Cry or Watch Dogs at E3 and say, it's coming out this year. Like, can Ubisoft really ride 12 months just on Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six?
Wait, what, do you not like Prince of Persia? No, but...
I do like Prince of Persia, but there's just...
Back in the day.
That series like 3 times, in the past generation, and none of them seem to really click. I like the games. I like the one that had the unique
What was
art
that
style.
last one? Yeah, that last one had like a really sort of flowy...
Yeah, well, that wasn't the last one. That was the last one before the last one.
Yeah, I thought the last one was pretty good, though.
Yeah. One with that girl, and you sort of swing around and stuff. Is
also, would you not expect a Splinter Cell before another Far Cry? Like, that makes sense.
That's true.
That's interesting. They have so many properties, gosh.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there will be at least 4 or 5 AAA games next year from Ubisoft. We don't know about them all yet. I think we're going to hear about.
I mean, how do you rank the Ubisoft games this year? Like, what is the number one, you think?
I'm trying to think now. So we got Crew, Assassin's Creed,
Valiant Heart. Are we talking?
Okay,
big
no,
games
just the
only?
AAA.
Okay.
I mean, we know that the UbiSoft games are of higher quality than their AAA stuff. But
All right. So South Park's number one, right? That we can.
Oh, is that Ubisoft? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, but between like Watch Dogs, Far Cry, Assassins, and Crew, how would you rank those?
Far Cry's first for me.
I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
And then
Watch Dogs,
Assassins or Watch Dogs?
Watch Dogs, I think.
Yeah, I think
it's
Watch
got a different
Dogs.
vibe to it, and it's.
Well, I mean, because Unity was so broken. Like, Watch Dogs came out, and it was a little bit disappointing, but you could at least play the damn game.
Did you guys have literally game-breaking bugs with Unity?
I did.
Okay. Because I didn't run into any. I had a frame drop in one cathedral, but other than that, I didn't experience any of, like, the fall-through, the disappearing faces, any of that.
I mean, you also
I
have to
didn't get
take
anything.
you have to take into account that the day one patch kind of broke stuff, too, for
Yeah.
other players. Maybe not as much for us or whatever. We were kind of done by then.
Sure.
But you know, the millions of people that bought that game on day
Yeah.
one and they had that patch and they had a bad experience.
Setting aside the technical difficulties, though, Watch Dogs you still would think is better than Unity? If you erase the all the flubs with the game.
Oh, no, I liked Unity quite a bit, actually.
Okay.
I mean,
I
I don't know
just
if you remember, we talked about it when it came out.
Yeah.
You know, I was, like, super up on it.
Yeah, I do like it.
I think the game kind of falls off, like, towards the end, just story-wise, and,
It gets a bit boring, doesn't it?
It
Repetitive.
was my most anticipated game of the year until I played it and realized I've already played it 4 times. Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah, it's exactly the same again, really.
They have to do something different. They
They
have.
won't though.
I know
Well,
they
it's
won't.
not. The next one isn't different. We've seen that already.
No, it's
It's the same.
ridiculous. Something that tried to be different, and this is sort of flipping to the other side of Microsoft, is Titanfall, which was just heralded as the savior for the Xbox One and going to sort of rewrite the console race. It came out, it gained a lot of hype at the beta, and then I don't know that anyone spoke the word Titanfall.
That was a
again.
weird launch. That was like the hype week at the beginning. It just went out of nowhere. No one played
The
it.
thing I want to ask you guys about is a lot of people I saw said that the beta sort of killed it because people played it and had their fill. Why do you think that Titanfall, suffered from a beta, but Destiny, which actually had a much bigger alpha and beta period, seemed to maintain its popularity and its hardcore following far better than Titanfall?
Content. Like, Titanfall has so little content that about 50% of it was shown in the beta. I mean, the amount of guns that are in the game, you can count on one hand almost. I mean, like...
Do you think that's because that they... Like, do you think that they consciously developed the game to be simplistic in nature, or do you think that they were rushed in order to get it out?
I think they were rushed. Yeah, absolutely. I think there was supposed to be a single player campaign all along, but they kind of just wanted to put it out, relatively close to launch, so that this is the next big thing. And whether we like it or not, that gameplay is revolutionary because every game since then has double jump, it has the dashing.
That's not because of Titanfall though. They had that in the game before Titanfall came out.
Well, yeah,
Titanfall was the first. It was the earliest.
Yeah, it's the first one to be released, but it's not like Call of Duty all of a sudden decided to change and have jumping in it.
Sure. No, they were all headed that direction, but Titanfall did release, and I thought it was fun. Like, I really enjoyed it at the start. It just never ended up being the...
It's not enough there to keep you going. That's what it is. It's not. It's a fun game. Gameplay's fun, but that's it.
I think it also struggles because it doesn't really have anything for a fan to lock onto. Like, Master Chief gets a huge amount of kids and people excited to be that character, and it's iconic. Call of Duty is military based, which is like a big thing, especially in America. Titanfall, robot lovers or parkour experts. I don't know who that game. You know what I mean? There's nothing to really say wow, I can identify Titanfall as blank. It doesn't have sort of that hearthold that Call of Duty and Halo and even Battlefield get because of their theme.
Yep.
Yeah. And I really think it hurt them to not have a campaign.
The campaign was
like you said,
bad.
There's nothing to grab onto. There's no protagonist that we can all just kind of relate to. And I mean, I don't relate to a giant robot. Not that I relate to everything in games I play. Not necessarily, but you want something.
It feels very strange because it's there's a game called Blacklight Retribution that came out This is a downloadable shooter, free to play. I think it's on PS4 actually.
It is. It's been on PC for years, but it came to PS4 this year.
And like Titanfall reminds me a lot of that in its scope, and yet Titanfall was a $60 game that was supposed to like be the console system seller for Microsoft, which just to me it's strange. Like you're saying, like it's content empty, and it's just weird that it is.
It feels like it shouldn't have been full price as well. It should be like an Evolve game where they sort of drop the price. Maybe,
Evolve is full price, right?
No, it's dropped. It should have dropped, apparently.
Evolve is going to be a $60 game.
Yeah, it's full price, man.
No, I've heard it's $50.
On PC, maybe?
Evolve is going to be full price, and they announced that there is an offline component, which I think...
I played that already.
It's not a single-player game, but it at least allows you to do stuff without an internet connection, which I think
single player is surprisingly good. I played it, and it's... The AI is very clever.
Is it? That's really cool.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Is it?
It's very, very good.
Okay, cool.
I lost every match. Yeah, trust me.
I think it's a saving grace, though, to have an offline mode, because if you're going to be online only and with outages and with problems like that, imagine like a Master Chief Collection type problem with Evolve. It would kill the game, just totally destroy it, you know? So having that component for 2015 is going to be huge. But if we scroll back to 2014, so Titanfall, Infamous Second Son, the early title for Nintendo was Mario Kart 8, which, you know, say what you want about Nintendo, but that was by far the highest quality game to come out in the first half of the year.
Was it still the first half of the year when that came out?
Yeah, it came out in May.
Okay. Oh, yeah. All right.
So it's still first half of the year, and it doesn't do anything revolutionary. But for me, like a game that's very mechanics driven, a game that has its fun relied on like what you're doing moment to moment and not who you're being or the storyline or the epic set pieces. Like I think it's okay to iterate on those one per generation. Like that's what people have to remember. 3D Marios, Zeldas, Mario Karts, they don't come out every year. They come out every console, and they have been for the last 20 years or whatever, but it's one per generation. It's not like Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty where we get Mario Kart 9, 10. I mean, if they did that, we'd be on Mario Kart 25 by now. Like, it would be crazy. But so Mario Kart 8, nothing like show-stopping, but still such a quality title that has really held throughout the year in terms of sales, popularity, DLC, and I think it could be up there for some people in Game of the Year.
It is, and here's the thing: the main reason why people love that game so much is because it worked. When you got it on day one, you were able to go online. You were able to.
Did it work like all the time? Like no problems? Or
yeah, I never had a problem. Like maybe I got kicked out of a server once or something, but nothing to the extent of like the Master Chief Collection or anything like that.
I mean, Nintendo's service isn't the greatest, but it has been pretty stable throughout the first couple of years of Wii U. Like, it doesn't have all the features of Xbox Live or PlayStation Network. It doesn't have the free monthly games. It also doesn't have the subscription fee, and so to be able to go online and play Mario Kart or play Smash Bros. Against your friends pretty, easily, like I think that is a nice part of the Wii U that people don't even really talk about or think exists.
Did you expect much, like, more from Mario Kart, or was you like happy, like this is what I want?
I was happy because to me it's more of it's a game that just is driven by the mechanics and then the multiplayer, so it'd be in the same way if you were going to release a new NBA game. Like, you wouldn't want all of a sudden the ball to be 2 feet wider or the basket to be 10 feet higher. Like, it does the same thing, but I think they widen the tracks and they definitely expanded sort of the graphical scope of the game. They added a bunch of racers and maps, and the DLC has been pretty darn worthwhile. Like, you're only paying $7-8 and you're getting a full 2 new cups and characters, which is pretty great. So is it brilliant? No, but is it a really great refinement of a series? Absolutely. It's the best one that they've released, which I think you got to give them credit for.
It feels like
sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, it seems like the DLC is better priced than Destiny. But carry on, sorry.
I mean, we can talk Destiny for a little bit here. We've talked Destiny to death in the past, me and Scott especially. But the biggest thing that blows me away in Destiny is that you have a very loyal following that are obsessively getting these new guns and pursuing the highest level they can, and I honestly just don't understand what they're doing.
I fully understand it, and I can explain it to you if you want me to.
Go for
Here's
it.
the thing. All right, they got Destiny, right?
Yep.
They spent hours and hours and hours and hours leveling up, getting to level 28, whatever the max was at first. I forget, 27, I believe, is what it was. Mm-hmm. So they spent like maybe 40 hours because once you get to like 25, it takes a long time to keep going. So they do not want to admit that they spent 40 hours doing nothing. That is why these people just won't hop off Destiny, basically.
It's the weirdest thing. It's an MMO with one ability, with hardly any, I mean, there's 2 raids now if you buy the DLC. It's an $80 game, right, if you want the DLC. If you are a player like me, though, that doesn't have 100 hours to dump into Destiny, that doesn't have a friend group to run the raid, me stuck at level 19, I bought the DLC, and I can literally do nothing with it.
Yep, I could have told... yeah.
Nothing.
I've been hearing, though, like, apparently if you jump in now, so say you buy the DLC, you buy the game, you level up so quick to level 30 now, compared to what it used to be like...
You can't get to 30 that quick, but you can get to
you can get it's quicker. It's a lot quicker. That's what I'm saying. It's still not. It's like they've improved the way you level up for new people that turn up.
Well, yeah, what they did is they increased the loot drops. Now there's actual like valuable loot dropping instead of just random stuff that you're never going to use. They fixed that, so
it punishes the people that played it since day one, and it's giving people an easier ride that just jumped on the game now, which is awkward.
To me, I think like the game is so thin on content that they mask all of that with these really complicated currency systems, all of these like special rules to level up, and all of this confusion that keeps you playing, and really what it's doing is just hiding the fact that there's like nothing to do in the game. I mean, you're running the same patrols, you're running the same strikes, you're running the same missions. Oh my god.
Most professional podcast
got murdered or we won. One way or the other.
It's not the second one.
Okay.
The game's not over, by the way.
All right. Yeah, we got a touchdown. The Lions. Whew. All right. I've been shaking just to let you guys know over here. Now I see we scored.
Why is this game so important? Just randomly.
It's not really.
It's not at all.
Like the Lions are my. Here we're gonna have cue like the sad, sappy music.
Oh, no.
Zach, little boy Zach, was like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, and my relatives would always tell me, Zach, don't follow the Lions, they're going to break your heart. Don't follow the Lions, get another team. And I'd be sitting there in my Charlie Batch jersey just cheering them on and hoping that something would go right. Well, it never did go right, ever, literally ever. And so years later, they showed signs of improvement. I remember being in California, we started the season off really well, and then they'd lose 6 games in a row. So this year, the Lions have a new coach. They're putting together a solid season. They're 10-4. They're in the playoffs, and I'm literally sobbing in the shower last night, just like I feel like I'm a part of the team. Like, yes, like all of my efforts have finally paid off, and I want nothing more than to beat the Packers next week and be able to tell all the people my entire life, like, we did it. Like I feel like I'm the 12th man. Like
I'm the exact same way, but with the Packers. I've lived in Texas my entire life. People make fun of me when I wear my Packers hats and my nobody here likes the Packers. But I've always been a huge fan of Brett Favre, and nobody cares about this. I'm just saying that I'm the exact same way, but with the Packers.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
And next week when the Packers beat Detroit, I'll be here to make sure you're okay, Ghost.
Oh God.
So how big is this game next week? Is that
very big?
Yeah, the next one's big. This one doesn't matter. Ghost's team is playing against a team that has fallen apart completely. They're playing a second string quarterback that hasn't played football in a long time. He has a beer belly. Like,
fair enough.
I would say that next week's Lions-Packers game will be the biggest Lions-Packers game in the history of the franchises.
Wow. That's big.
Well, yeah, that's what we think about Sony.
So Sony, Destiny seems to be a Sony game when you think about it, but it's absolutely not. They have an exclusive strike in the DLC, which I've heard is completely crappy. And other than Infamous Second Son, they had Drive Club, which is a complete abomination, of a release. And they had Little Big Planet 3, which seems like something that they pooped out to at least,
Wait, they had something else, did they? They had to, right? What? They have to have something else.
No,
that was it.
The Last of Us, I guess.
Okay, yeah. The best.
I mean, that's Game of the Year, really, but that's a remaster.
GTA 5 and Last of Us, Game of the Year. No, I mean, exclusive-wise, it was a strange year, and...
Oh, Killzone was last November, wasn't it?
Killzone was November. They had Infamous, Drive Club, and Little Big Planet 3.
God. Sony done shit this year.
Okay, it's either one of two things. One, companies are not investing in, original exclusive IP because they just want to make the multi-platform money, or this generation has excelled far greater than studios imagined, and they haven't committed the full resources to a next-gen only game. And I hope it's the second one, but I think it's the first one. If you look at next year's slate, I mean, think about Microsoft next year. You got Halo 5. Tomb Raider, which is, we still don't know if that's a true exclusive or a timed.
Well, no, we know. It's not true exclusive, but it's timed for quite some time.
But are you sure? Because recently they said that they are publishing
Yeah, they are publishing it, but...
So what if after the game comes out, it reviews well, it gets an 88 on Metacritic, it sells a lot, and Microsoft tosses them an extra $20 million to keep it forever on Xbox?
I'm sure they could do that, but is there 20 million Xboxes out there?
Okay, so we say Tomb Raider, Halo 5, and then the TBD Quantum Break that has no...
That's coming. That has to be coming.
That has to be next year, right? So those are their 3 games. I assume that's like a September, October, November trifecta right there. But the first 9 months of the year, they don't have anything.
Also, Forza's coming. I'm sure there's a Forza game.
A new Forza?
Yeah.
Oh, Forza Motorsport. Yay.
Yeah. And Killzone season... Or not Killzone. Killer Instinct Season 2.
Oh, that's Jesus out. Christ. Isn't it?
Is it out?
It's on my dashboard. I think someone gave me it.
Yeah, it's on my dashboard, too. I own Season 2. I don't know how, but I own it.
So this is just so strange to me because I've tweeted about this before. If you list out the big franchises that exploded onto the scene in the first 1 to 2 years of the PS3 and Xbox 360, it's an incredible list, and there's like none of it here. I mean, The Order comes out next year, and it's, from all I've heard and from what I've played, it is a very pretty piece of crap.
Word from PlayStation Experience was a lot better. They say it's much improved.
Don't know how, but
I still think that game
that's what they
out.
say. All right, well, here's the thing about that, though, Ghost. Can I call you Zach on here?
Yeah, whatever you want.
All right, I'll call you Zach.
Zachary.
Right. I'm going to call you Zachary.
Yeah, call you Zachary Tyler like Alexa does.
All right, no, well, here's the thing. With Sony, specifically, all that stuff is coming. We don't know what Bend is doing. Santa Monica has to be doing some God of War. My point is they have a lot of studios that are making PS4 games that will sort of be that thing that we expect for this generation.
What's that story thing coming out? That story game. What's it called again?
The Last Guardian?
No,
that's not a story game.
A story game?
That one where you can select the heavy rain stuff.
That's Until Dawn. Yeah,
that looks good. I'm excited.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
I mean, it has PS3 quality graphics, but
no, it doesn't.
I mean, who knows? I've always seen this trailer. Like unless you saw it in person, but we can't go off YouTube footage because it's so compressed, and but all that stuff is coming. Hopefully.
Just like the inevitable Mass Effect that we've seen drawings of, and Mirror's Edge 2. And
EA is so terrible with that.
God.
I don't care if you have drawings.
E3 was crap for me. Yeah. That was so stupid. Here's a bunch of drawings. Enjoy.
So back to this year, we had... Sorry. No, we're good. It's just... We're all about games here. It's a very loving household. That
games and football that Scott doesn't care about.
Yeah, Scott likes football. Just
I like, yeah. We're having a good season as well, so I'm very happy with my football team.
So tracking things just exclusive wise, we talked about Sony. Microsoft comes into the fall with Sunset Overdrive and the Master Chief Collection, which on paper looks like a pretty strong combo. The Master Chief Collection came out and completely just annihilated itself with its problems, right? I think that game could have been pretty popular. Instead, it's just infamous for being trash. They did just announce that they are giving away they will make the ODST campaign for free with upgraded graphics.
Is it out now, or is that coming?
No, spring of 2015.
Oh.
So you got a long ways to wait. So sit on your sucky servers for the next 6 months, and then you'll get to play a 6-year-old game at this point, 5-year-old.
And that's what I don't get. All this talk about dedicated servers, and that being a big push for Microsoft, especially when the Xbox One was announced. The whole thing was, we're gonna have amazing servers, dedicated servers this, dedicated servers that, and
nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, Halo 5 is better though, which makes no sense. It's in beta and it works better than the
Halo 5 is super fun. I called it Halo Fun. That's what it is.
Halo Fun.
Halo Fun.
Can we count now for Game of the Year? Does the Halo 5 beta, is that possible to put on your list?
Nah. Well, not for Game of the Year. It's not a
if we're doing that, I'm putting Left Behind DLC as number one.
Left Behind was this year? Was it February?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So Microsoft, I do think Sunset Overdrive, we should at least give it a little bit of a mention because
I love
it is
that game.
The best exclusive for the next-gen consoles this year, and it gets no hype. And I really...
What, even Nintendo-wise?
Well, I mean, just between Microsoft and Sony.
Okay.
Honestly, yeah, if you step back, I think it's the best exclusive of the year across all platforms.
I still give that to Smash, but okay.
I thought Bayonetta was out. I played Bayonetta for about an hour and it was pretty good.
I just like that it's original and that it's new. And I guess I'm curious what you guys think about why... Insomniac has done Ratchet before, which is a popular franchise, but the gaming industry has kind of evolved beyond the character.
Are they making another one, though? They're making another one, aren't they?
They are making another one, but just like that was popular then. It probably won't do as well now, so they try to go more mature focus here. They've got a game that's a little bit more edgy. It's mature rated. You've got, some pseudo blood. You've got guys dying and killing and shooting and people and, girls and all the good stuff that gamers want. Why is this game not getting talked about at all?
Is it not?
I don't hear much about it at all.
I mean, I know, not that this doesn't matter, and I don't know how people react on your channel when you mention them, but IGN, it's a contender for their game of the year at least.
Oh, is it? Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
It just doesn't... I don't know if they've released sales figures on that since they're so cagey, especially this year with NPDs and stuff like that, but... It's like, look at like Mordor, look at like Assassin's Creed Unity, Far Cry 4, those games, Dragon Age Inquisition. Like, to me, I can't understand why Dragon Age Inquisition is getting so much praise and Sunset seems to just slide into the distance.
Dragon Age is good, but I don't know why people are ignoring Sunset Overdrive as a potential game of the year. I think it should be right up there in the top 3 at least.
What I like about it is that it does something different. It incorporates a movement system
and the color as well
that modifies the traditional shooter in a unique way. And that's something that we had a good stretch. And even if people don't love games like Bulletstorm or Singularity, or there's a couple other sort of mid-tier shooters that were creative in the middle of the Xbox 360, PS3 generation, and right now we've had none of those. We had the Killzones, the Call of Duties, the Battlefields. We're getting Hardline, the Halos, the Uncharteds. It's nice to see a game take shooting and know that is a very popular mechanic, but then add a twist onto it that works. Because Sunset we thought might not work, and instead it's turned out to be a huge hit. Which I love the fact that they took a chance and it worked out, at least from a quality standpoint. I don't know from a sales standpoint if they're going to be bummed with it or not, but they got to be proud of themselves.
Maybe it sold well. We don't even know. I mean, we're assuming it didn't just because we don't hear a lot about it.
Yeah,
but
I hope both didn't sell well. Master Chief Collection and Sunset Overdrive didn't sell.
Master Chief did sell well. I'm pretty sure it did.
I think in Europe it sold pretty bad, but that's what I heard.
Supposedly, now this is coming from VGCharts.com, which tracks games pretty reputably.
What, sales and stuff?
Yeah, so this was November 21st, their November 21st report. So that would be 2 months of Sunset. That it had sold 320,000 copies worldwide.
Okay, maybe that's not so great.
Master Chief Collection dropped 660K in its first week.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, it's a good number. It'll eventually sell 1 million, but I think publishers want you to sell well above that these days.
Well, if you remember, Tomb Raider, the remake, got smashed by Square for selling 4 million.
That's just Square being ignorant, though.
I know. I'm just saying, but we're in a day and age when if you can put out a Assassin's Creed, 60, and have it sell 10 million, that is what's going to get made. If you can put out Watch Dogs 2 and Far Cry 5 and eventually Division 2 and 3 and 4, like, it just sort of sucks that some of these games are going to get completely overlooked because of the fact that they don't sell, not because of their score.
Speaking of games that are getting overlooked, and I don't know if we're talking about third party. I mean, we've been talking about third party stuff the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. Bring it up.
All right, Wolfenstein. I love that game. At first, it is really slow, right? For you to get into it, the first couple hours, but once you're really into it, that is a solid shooter, and I think it's the best shooter of first person shooter of the year. Completely story based, no multiplayer. I had a lot of fun with that game.
Scott, what did you think about that one? Because I really liked it from its. I mean, I thought it was very well made, quality wise. For me personally, the fact that it's a straight up shooter with not a whole lot of secondary stuff, like that's why it's not higher up my list for me. But I definitely can appreciate why it's successful. What did you think of it?
I thought it's more or less like a standard shooter for me. I wasn't really compelled to think, oh, this game is pretty amazing. The story was okay. The graphics were pretty good. The game felt very on rails. The stealth elements were pretty average.
It does have an upgrade system, doesn't it?
Yeah, somewhat.
Like, yeah, but it's at least a nice. I'm trying to think. Like, my favorite shooters are games like Last of Us or BioShock, where there is a huge secondary component in either the environment or crafting or the story. So I was just trying to go through my head, what did Wolfenstein do besides shoot a bunch of Nazis?
It's a solid game. I'd definitely recommend it and stuff. I wouldn't go like, oh, don't buy this game, especially like in the sales and stuff. But
Gabe, would you say that it's like not a next gen game though?
Oh, it's definitely a next gen game.
No, it is. It looked really. I mean, I played it on PC too, so I don't know
amazing.
how. On PC, it's great. And the thing is, the reasons why you maybe guys are a little bit lower on it is the reason that I love it so much. It's more just a traditional shooter. There is no secondary, not really gimmick, but I'm going to say gimmick for a lack of a better word. Like it doesn't have anything else to trying to stand out. Like they said, no, okay, this is a shooter reminiscent of older Wolfenstein games, and not just that. And you mentioned Singularity, and that's not a well-reviewed game. It's not a very well-liked game, but I liked it too just because it's mechanically sound as far as shooting. The guns feel good. The story might not be the best, but it's enough to get you through the environments, and I think the AI was pretty.
It's quite hard as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's fun.
One thing I'll give Wolfenstein is that even though it is old school, you're right, it does sort of upgrade itself into the modern era in a pretty competent way. I have not played a lot of Dragon Age Inquisition, so I'm not going to fully judge it. But when I played the first hour of that game, I felt like I was like playing a game from 10 years ago. Have you guys gotten that far into it?
I've played maybe 5 or 6 hours. And
does it feel old to you?
It's Dragon Age. It feels like Dragon Age 1 and 2. Yeah. Like it feels like exactly what it is, which is a mixture of both. And
I guess I felt like Mass Effect 2 really stepped it up from 1, and whatever you feel about the story in 3, it at least kind of was evolving the combat. Dragon Age just feels like, and I know that's what people wanted because they're focused on the story and sort of the micromanagement, but it feels like it's locked in like the year 2002.
Yeah, I think what you said is right. Like, I don't know me and you, I don't know how much Scott played, but I don't think I've played enough to
really appreciate it.
Yeah, I didn't get invested in the story.
One of those games you have to put a lot of time into, isn't it? At the beginning, and just almost power through.
Something like Witcher 3, which seems to take that long medieval-styled RPG, that era, and really kind of drive it forward. And Dragon Age seems to be, for me, like BioWare has kind of fallen off. When they made Mass Effect 2, I was like so gung-ho about their future with Dragon Age and Mass Effect 2 and the things that they were doing. And now I feel like maybe they had talent leave. Obviously, the doctors have sort of stepped aside, but that studio just, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me every time.
It's EA, isn't it? That's the problem. Ever since EA took over, I think they've been rushing a bit more. Are there any studios these days that you guys trust 100%, like that you would buy their game sight unseen?
Naughty Dog and Valve, but they don't really ever put anything out anymore.
Valve isn't doing any games.
So you've got Naughty Dog once every 2 years, and then Valve once every decade.
Yeah.
I want Naughty Dog to not speed up, but I want us to have more people and just start.
It's just sad that we lost Irrational, BioWare. Maybe it's because of the buyout or whatever, but yeah, I just wonder who's going to make next year's Game of the Year. Is it just going to be one of the big sequels, Uncharted, Halo? Assassin's Creed, going beyond that, is it going to be?
I don't mind sequels. I just want them to step it up. Where I feel like they don't. Some just go sideways and just do little tiny improvements. I want them to go on next bit. I want Uncharted 4, for example. Looks like it's a step up.
Yeah.
In my point of view, but I know you don't agree with that statement. But.
I mean, I think Uncharted 4 looks really good, and it could be great. That is a game that came out closer to a decade than 5 years ago. And they're retaining so much of it. And that's fine. It's cool. I really wish it would be... I don't know. I just feel like you got all this power on these new systems, and what are they using it for? Graphics, that's great and all. But
Nathan Drake looks very pretty.
I mean, but old man Drake.
I love it.
We saw, though, think about when Gears of War came out and how that kind of revolutionized cover shooters. Think about when Mass Effect 1 and 2 came out and that opened your eyes to these really epic space drama type RPGs. The Oblivions, the Skyrims. What game has done anything close to that the first year and a half of these consoles? I can't think of any, and if I look forward, I mean, The Witcher 3 could be cool, Batman will be fun. Evolve is, to me, the closest thing to a true next-gen game because it's at least doing something.
I think Evolve's going to be a Titanfall again.
Comes out and just
I'm pretty much 90% sure that it's going to come out and it's just going to be like it was going to be off it in like 2 weeks. Personally, I mean, I went to a preview event. I was getting bored by the end of it. I was like, I'm gonna go home now.
Well, that's not good. That's not good.
Perhaps it's just me, but it feels very repetitive.
I really, really like the game, and I think it's really good. I think it relies on you having a group, though. It's a very difficult game to play solo from the hunter perspective. As the monster, it's fine. You can go chow down on guys, and that's super fun. But being a hunter by yourself is a pretty frustrating experience because especially for us that have played it in groups, like you're so used to communicating and so used to having sort of the strategies evolve organically. When you're playing solo, you're just kind of like looking around like, I hope to God he's doing his job, and you try to do your job. And
the trapper, for example, if the trapper just doesn't do anything, like you just scream down the mic. It's like, what are you? You're not doing your job. We are screwed. That's it.
If you look at like, you've got Bloodborne, which I think is fantastic. You've got Tomb Raider, which will probably be really cool. Uncharted 4, I'm sure will undoubtedly be great, even if it doesn't, wow me. But it's like, what's the new thing?
Quantum Break. Quantum Break, man. You get to watch TV. You get to snap while you're playing through a level, and meanwhile Destiny you're watching an episode.
Destiny should have been it, right? Bringing the MMO and the multiplayer, massively multiplayer shooter, the MMO styling, the loot, the gear, the upgrades to consoles should have been it, and they dropped the ball because instead they focused on this very, very time-consuming leveling up system and this end-game raid that most people don't even get to, and left the rest of their game kind of feature barren. You get one freaking ability for your hundreds of hours of gameplay. You get one ability for your character. One. Imagine if World of Warcraft came out with an expansion where you made a new character. It was some new moose or whatever the heck creatures they have in that game, and you got one ability. You pressed one and it did something. One. the one key. Like, it would be railed, and yet because it has shooting, it's okay. I just think that game could have been
so overhyped.
It could have been so much more, though.
How do you feel about the fact that it's their first time trying something like this, and this, it's a big scale, but it didn't end up meeting our expectations. But maybe they learned from this. Hopefully, you hope they did. And now I hope Destiny 2 really delivers.
I mean, the dream scenario is that they set the foundation here with Destiny 1. They establish all of the infrastructure. Destiny 2, they can go crazy on the content. Do you think there will be a true Destiny 2? I mean, a box Destiny 2, or do you
absolutely.
think
Absolutely.
So you think they will?
They've said it already.
You think they'll have character carryover? Because this is something I've heard. I heard Giant Bomb discussing it, which I thought was very interesting on Destiny, which is that if you're going to change the game drastically, right, new abilities, new whatever.
I've heard this is actually announced already before you continue. They've already announced that your character will continue over.
Okay, so if your character does continue over, can they really do much different?
Yeah, I mean, they can add more a bit.
So like you come to a new, like the Traveler just like bops you on the head and you're like, now you got 4.
Maybe. I don't know what the technical limitations of that would be, like importing a character. Yeah, no, you should be able to learn new stuff.
I just hope that they do go all out. Now that they've spent the money and the time sort of building out the game, that they will now fill in sort of the giant, Grand Canyon that they've established. Because
I always feel though, like when we're looking for a good sequel, we always see like signs of like a good game in the first game. I don't see many signs of a good game in the first game.
Yeah.
Mass Effect was good. We saw potential for obviously Mass Effect 2 was amazing, and just Bioshock and just like.
I think there are definitely things we can think of that could be good, but they're not. They didn't really lay much hope that would be carried out. You look and you're like, wow, if these planets had different gravity, or if these planets had really different art assets, like it would be really fun to be in. Or if there were different, but then there's none of that. It's just all kind of us creating that in our heads or whatever.
Okay, now I'm just curious. I don't know if maybe you wanted to do this like later or whatever, but I want to know what your game of the year is. Just yours, like Zach and Scott. What your personal game of the year is? Your favorite, not even the best. Just
God, it's been a really hard year for just to pick one. Last year I was like, yep. And this year I'm just like, I don't really know.
I'm like 90% sure I know what mine is. I kind of don't want to say it just because I want to be 100% sure, but I think you can guess what mine is based on what I've said thus far. I mean, let's go.
Maybe you can do a top 3 no order or something.
So tricky. This year is like so tricky though to pick a game.
I mean, it's not tricky because there's so many. It's tricky because there's so few. Like, I'm honestly like, I made a list to try to fill out 10, and I was like, well, I got 5.
Yeah, no, I can't do 10.
I'm trying to fill out the bottom 5. I mean, if we look at the rest of the year just to sort of wrap up the consoles, Master Chief Collection, I don't think that's going to make anybody's list because of all of its problems. I mean, Nintendo comes out with Bayonetta 2, Captain Toad, and Super Smash Brothers, which is a pretty dang strong, end of the year lineup for sure. They also had Hyrule Warriors, which not the greatest, but some people, mashing buttons with Link. I just like. I mean, when you hear Shadow of Mordor being touted as Game of the Year, like that tells you, like, holy crap, we had a bad year.
Yeah. All right, so it's hard to pick a Game of the Year. I
mean, honestly, this is subject to change, but my top 3 right now would probably be Sunset Overdrive. I question if I want to throw Dark Souls 2 in there because I really did like that game, but the knowledge that Bloodborne comes out in 3 months and I think it's going to be far superior, like, makes me...
But this is this year, though.
Yeah, I know, but, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that I played Bloodborne has really weakened my feeling on Dark Souls.
Is that good, then? What is that? Bloodborne?
Wow, Bloodborne has this mechanic. I played the alpha at home, so I had a chance to kind of mess around without someone, staring at me.
Do you have the alpha at home?
It was a European alpha that came out for, like, a week, and I snuck my way in. You weren't allowed to record it or anything, but there is a mechanic where you're able to fuse and separate 2 weapons, and I think that is, like, the coolest combat mechanic I've had because it's starting to incorporate a little bit of Devil May Cry type stuff into Bloodborne. It's a much more offensive game than Dark Souls, which is a lot of just sidestepping, strafing around, keeping your shield up. This is like you have a sword that can plug into a hammer, and so you'll combo where you'll slice your sword as a quick attack horizontally, jam it inside the hammer, and then do a heavy vertical attack while the enemy's stunned. And like, if they're able to really nail that, where you can pick a bunch of different weapons, combo them into a whole nother subset of different weapons, I think it's going to make that game really, really feel like an evolution of Dark Souls rather than just, a prettier version of the past games.
I mean, how big is that game for Sony, do you think? Is that like a massive game for Sony? Was it more for like the Japanese audience? Or
I think it's pretty big.
Do you? I think it's big for Sony to talk about, but I don't know if it's big for Walmart shows to go by.
Well, yeah, I don't know about like Walmart shows, but people that are like really into this, people that watch YouTube all the time or visit sites regularly, Bloodborne is on their mind. Sites cover it like crazy. The word of mouth on it has been so positive.
Do you think it's a $60 purchase though? Knowing that it's a really hardcore single player game, do you think, like, if you were, I think it'll do at least as well as Dark Souls. Yeah, this is true.
The difficulty is lowered a little bit from what I can tell. Like, it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit more action oriented. So maybe a wider audience, but I think it does at least as good as Dark Souls, and Dark Souls does pretty well. So
for sure, yeah. I mean, I guess I don't think it's going to be a shining star for Sony in the same way that like early on Gears of War may have been for Xbox, or like God of War 2 was on PlayStation. I don't know, some of these games that really defined and pushed systems. I don't know that people are going to buy. Like, I would say, sure, buy a PS4 to play Bloodborne, but I don't know that the average consumer is going to buy a PS4.
No, it's not a system seller, but for those of us that already have it...
It's like a tick point, isn't it? Yay, that's a good game. It's not like a buy a console game.
Yeah.
Do you think that we had so many delays this year, and typically delays are... one for development, or 2 to get out of the way. And early in the year, there was a lot of people trying to get out of the way of October, November, and so many of them got out of the way that we ended up having kind of what I feel is one of the weakest falls in my memory. Was there anything that was third party that stuck out to you? Out of the Far Cry's, out of the Shadow of Mordor's, out of the... I think we pretty much listed the big stuff. After Destiny came out, I feel like so many people cleared out from Destiny. And then so many people cleared out from the Call of Duty sort of range that we were left with what? Like Mordor, Far Cry, Assassins, and The Crew.
Crew, man.
The Crew.
Crew's freaking awesome.
Do you really think The Crew's awesome?
I know. I think so.
I think it's fun.
I spent an hour trying to figure out how to play multiplayer, and we couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I told you. You have to go to a certain level.
What the heck is that about?
All games do that. It's like level 10 to like...
That's common for multiplayer racing?
No, well, not for racing, for just games in general. Like, you can't do multiplayer stuff till you reach a certain point in the story.
I just, like, to me, if you put Forza 5, Forza Horizon 2, Need for Speed, whatever the last one was called, Burnout Paradise, The Crew, Drive Club.
Oh, yeah, I mean, obviously. I mean...
like, what am I playing here? Like, where?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it's still fun. And,
okay, so The Crew, is that your standout of the last 3 months of the year?
No, that was a joke.
Okay, all right. I mean...
If Sunset, if that counts,
yeah.
That's October, so that counts.
So third parties sort of fell off for us this year. Like, if you look at the EAs, the Ubisofts, the Activisions, we're not really pulling any of their games and sort of holding it up as, like, what did EA, I mean, Dragon Age, I guess that's...
I like Far Cry, I think that's my top
Yeah,
one.
Far Cry was good.
I think Far Cry as well, which, I mean, from my sort of critical point of view, is pretty sad because it's basically Far Cry 3 redone.
It's actually like a weaker version.
Yeah, with a worse storyline.
I mean, I probably prefer this main character. I think Brad. What was his name again? In 3, was he called Brad? Or I don't know what he's called.
Jason.
Jason.
That's it. He was a bit of like a douche, but yeah.
But at least he had a personality. I don't know. I mean, they don't even know what Ajay's name is. It's AJ. It's Ajay. It's something.
Depends where he lives. So apparently in America he's called AJ. He's like, what?
Ajax.
Whatever. Gosh. Mortal Kombat 10 comes out early next year.
See, I think next year might be cool because Nintendo has some cool stuff coming.
What about Dying Light? You're talking about Dying Light.
Have you guys played it? Both of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we all played the preview.
I think that Dying Light is an incredibly impressive...
It's got amazing lip sync as well. On point.
It's like, I don't know what that whole game is like. I could see it being boring after like 3 hours, but it sets a tone early, and like that's a really good first 2 hours.
Yeah, we played the first couple hours, so I mean, it's fun.
I like the jumping, the fact that I feel like I'm a human jumping from a roof to a roof. Well, like Assassin's Creed, I feel like I'm some sort of like ghost sort of person, like floating.
Gabe, how old are you?
I'm your age.
25? Are we all 25?
Well, I'm 24. I'll be 25 in a month.
I'm Grandpa Ghost Robo here, but I feel like at my age, as dumb as this sounds to say, like I can pretty much tell the quality of a game within like the first 30 minutes. From the menus, from the way the character moves, from the cutscene, from even the type font. Like you can instantly tell that Dying Light is not a big budget AAA game.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of is, and the 360 and PS3 version got canned, so really? I think they're putting more emphasis. Yeah, they got canceled like a couple months ago, I think.
Okay, good.
So I think they're going to put more emphasis on just trying to fix as much, because they have a little bit of time. The game's coming out late January, like the 28th or something like that.
When does Dead Island 2 come out?
I don't know, man.
I mean,
that trailer.
These games are so similar that I've seen YouTubers put Dead Island 2 thumbnails for their Dying Light content.
They're sort of similar, but not really.
You don't think so? Run around and swack guys with weapons that you acquire from picking things up by pressing
it's quite funny. The PR person tweeted him and said, "That's Dead Island."
No, but I mean the thing about Dead Island, it's more action oriented. Like the weapons are more wacky, and like there's definitely a more wacky feel to Dead Island.
It's more of like a comedy.
One thing I think is interesting is like Mirror's Edge came out 2008, I think.
Oh, when's that coming out? Is that coming next year?
No,
probably not.
Oh, for goodness sake.
EA's taking their time. They delayed Hardline, they're delaying Mass Effect 4, they're delaying Mirror's Edge 2. They don't want to, they got Plants vs. Zombies, so they're perfectly content. Which, speaking of Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, I think that's one of the standout games of the year.
Yeah, I've got that.
It's a unique shooter, again, doing something different with the shooting
mechanic. Good price.
And that is the best maintained game, I think, in the history of games. Like, free DLC, free updates, constantly interacting with fans. They're giving you new maps, they're giving you new modes, and then in between those big DLC packs, they always have special things going on where you might get, like, Christmas-themed hats or Halloween-themed gear, and it is supported so spectacularly for a $40 game that has also been given away for free multiple times now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, amazing.
Why did EA do that? Why have EA become friendly with that game? Also,
I think it's an experiment to bring a free-to-play game to consoles and to try what they do on mobile. The strange thing is that they didn't try and squeeze our hearts until they pop with microtransactions. Like if you look at Dungeon Keeper, some of the things they've done on iOS, like those are horribly mismanaged, and somehow maybe it was PopCap's good nature or something convinced them to do this like the right way.
And I think the game started off well. I mean, I think it sold well, and the critical reception of it was positive. Fans were liking it. Yeah, I think a lot of pieces came together for it to become what it did.
And it's a really good step-up game for sort of the young kids that play like on the iPhone or the iPad, and then they get a console. Mm-hmm. It sort of introduces them to like the major gaming scene, you know, in a way that is inviting but still also hardcore. Like you can get really good at Garden Warfare. It's not a game.
The game is gorgeous as well, isn't it? The colors and the stuff.
That's definitely up there for Game of the Year for me.
And the classes are all different, which is something I appreciate.
That's true.
I hate it when there's classes and, you know, one class is super similar to the other one.
What I'll be surprised to see is if they ever come out with the Garden Warfare 2, or if next year they, say, introduce a 5th class, because it could be sort of the first real example of a game as a platform on consoles where they just continue to evolve the ecosystem without sending you a new disc. Like, just sell a new character, a new class. That could be sort of the breeding ground to test that out. They've talked about that with Call of Duty. They talked about that with Madden, about not selling you a full new game, but just sort of, you know, creating these annual updates. Do you think that's something they could try with Garden Warfare?
They could try it, but they won't do it.
Yeah. I was going to say, they could, it's possible, but
you think we'll get Garden Warfare 2?
Yeah, I think so.
Not next year. I think it's going to be dead next year in terms of like updates and stuff and DLC. They're going to work on the next game.
Yeah. I have 2 quick asides, by the way.
Go for it.
All right, one, I don't know if you know, Detroit won, so congratulations.
Yes.
All right.
Ugly, gross game, but we'll take it.
All right, number 2. We've talked about, you know, best games, and we can't think of many, right? But I can easily think of the worst game of the year.
Okay, what's that?
Go for it.
Escape Dead Island. Did either of you play that thing?
No.
Oh, my God. You guys saved yourself, let me tell you.
Was that like a last-gen game as well?
Isn't that Techland?
Yes.
Are they the worst developer currently out? They make a game like every month, I feel like, and none of them are good.
Dying Light? They made Dying Light, though, didn't they?
Techland. What do they have?
Dying Light.
All right, here.
Hellraid. Where's Hellraid? I'm excited for that. It's Dead Island.
No. It's not Techland. Developer for Escape Dead Island is Fat Shark.
Okay, good. Well, Techland, sorry. I owe you an apology.
Oops.
Yeah, I mean that game was so horrible.
I'm gonna read you off Techland's history real quick. I hate to do this, but because I brought it up. Okay, we're gonna start. They've made games since 2000, so kudos to them. But we're gonna start in 2001. Here's some cool games that they've made: Pet Racer, Pet Soccer, Indiana Jack, Expand Rally, GTI Racing, Crazy Soccer Mundial, Call of Juarez, Nikita Wild Cars, Call of Juarez Bound in Blood, Nailed, Dead Island, Mad Riders, Dead Island Riptide, Dying Light, and Hellraid. I mean, they get a lot of play for a developer that can't seem to really make a standout game.
Well, they did Gunslinger, right?
Yeah.
I thought Call of Juarez Gunslinger was pretty cool.
That was okay. So maybe they turned a corner. Their last 2 full games were, I mean, Gunslinger's not really full, but like fully, it was made. There's a lot of like Hellraid has been sort of delayed and canceled, and then some other things were canceled. But Gunslinger and then Dying Light. So maybe Techland has turned the corner, and they're going to be a hero developer for this gen.
I still can't believe they've got Dead Island and Dying Light coming in the same year. I mean, that was the most confusing announcement
why it's called
ever.
Dead Island 2 when we've already had Dead Island 2.
I thought Dying Light was the second game to like Dead Island. What was the whole point of it?
Well, it's because the developer switched. Techland made Dead Island and Riptide, and now they're making Dying Light, and then someone else bought the license for Dead Island.
So it got a little bit awkward. Oh my god.
You know what game I'm really missing? Where is Dead Space 4?
Who knows if that's ever?
It didn't sell very well.
Yeah, number 3 underperformed in every aspect, pretty much.
I don't
think it was a bad game. I liked it, but you know, just grand scheme of things, it didn't sell as well. It wasn't reviewed as well. So, or maybe they're waiting a few years and they're going to come back with like a reboot completely, kind of like they did with like maybe Killzone, where it's like Shadowfall and it's not like Killzone 4.
I think they should throw Commander Shepard into the Isaac suit, and that's how you sell the game. Like Commander Shepard, this is his first real mission before he even found the aliens. He was in Dead Space 4.
Okay, and the main enemy in Dead Space 4 is actually Master Chief.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to stay on the EA side of things. So.
No, I know, but that's just kind of what it sounded like.
Do you think Halo 5 is going to do much? Like, okay, like I know it's going to be popular, but in terms of like quality campaign, like multiplayer side campaign, do you think Halo 5 does great things next year?
I don't know.
I mean, Halo 4, I thought was pretty fun, but it seems to be pretty universally like people did not like that.
People
campaign.
don't like it. I think the Halo hardcore audience just don't like any future Halo game. So I've got so many negative comments on like Halo 5 stuff. It's just like, this game is shit. It's like, okay.
Yeah, they want to play Halo 2 forever.
Yeah. I do have a separate award to give out here, which is greatest game that we saw a ton of, but that didn't come out, which is Metal Gear Solid 5. I think that game has at least 75 trailers now.
Runner-up, Batman.
Yeah, God. Do you think Batman was a development delay, a quality delay, a publisher delay, a money delay? Like, what's your gut feeling
publisher.
on that?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think, October was super crowded, and they're like, okay, we kind of want to get...
They would have won October if they came out.
Yeah, I think they would have too. But I think that they were just super, they realized that the game wasn't going to be ready, and they're like, we were a little early on that. And
I wish they stopped announcing games and then delaying like a week after.
I just wonder if that game was initially on track or if it never was.
But it was only on track for like a week.
They delayed it 9 months.
Yeah, it had to have been on track because they wouldn't give it a date if they didn't somewhat believe it was coming out.
Because they announced the date and then they delayed it, I think, a month afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think something like terrible happened. Like, I don't know.
The computers just crashed.
Yeah,
Everything got deleted.
I think what it was is that they forgot to put the Joker in, and they have to put the Joker in every Arkham game. So they spent
I don't think he's going to be.
He's inside the Arkham Knight suit.
He's
telling
supposed
you
to
right
be freaking
now.
dead.
That suit is at the end of the game. It's going to open up, and it's going to be the Joker. Like all.
I would love to play some kind of bet on this. No way, that's the Joker.
It is going to be the Joker. He's going to be in the game. There's no way he's not.
I don't think so. But all right.
What are we going to bet on this?
It's going to be Alfred.
I'll believe it's Alfred before I believe it's the Joker.
If it is the Joker, you have to get some sort of Detroit Lions apparel and wear it next year.
All right, okay. And same for you for Packers. All right, we could do that.
Okay. Anybody play Borderlands?
Nope.
I played it, but I'm not gonna finish that game.
I wonder how that sold. I mean, I think. I saw this really interesting video from Game Theory, and he was talking about how gamers are killing gaming because no matter what they say, they end up buying, and sales show that the most popular games are the ones that are the most repetitive, and things like a new Borderlands, things like another Dead Island, things like another Assassin's Creed. Like, are we putting ourselves into a perpetual revolving door of the same games over and over again? 2015 is going to be really defining because that is the second and beyond the second going into the third full year of the consoles once we get to the end of the year. And if we're not seeing new franchises, man, that makes me incredibly worried because every past console generation we've seen a lot of new things being introduced, especially in year one and year two. And if we get, Bloodborne is basically a sequel. The Order is a new IP. Quantum Break is theoretically a new IP, even though it's kind of a continuation of Alan Wake.
Is it?
Show?
Is it a continuation of Alan Wake?
It's not.
It's set in the same universe.
Is it?
Yeah.
I had not heard about this.
I'm pretty sure it's set in the same universe. I thought that they said that.
Like in the future or something of that universe.
Quantum Break, Alan Wake.
Yeah, you got to look that up. You might be right, and maybe I just didn't hear about it, but that's crazy.
I got a feeling next year will be a good year, but it'd be more like a sequel year.
I think next year might be a really good year because Zelda's coming, presumably. Nobody cares about Star Fox.
That has to come next year because then they're going to kill the Wii U in 2016.
All right, so here's my question. All right, then we're getting another Mario, a 3D Mario, right?
Next year?
Yeah.
My thought is 30th year of Mario, they got to come out with a Mario game. And because 3D World was to me, a half step, I would not be surprised if there was a full-on new 3D Mario being built behind the scenes. Because you got to imagine that the development time on 3D World after they did New Super Mario Bros. U and 3D Land was like a condensed version of what building the first Mario Galaxy was. So, yeah, Nintendo could theoretically come out again. They need something for September and October. The new Yoshi, Splatoon, Kirby are coming out early in the year. They have no Mario Kart to rely on. Star Fox is going to be out before Zelda, which to me sounds like an August, September release. So I think you either get a new 3D Mario or you get a 3D Metroid next year.
All right, see, and that's where I was going. So if Nintendo puts out Zelda, a new 3D Mario, and Metroid, because Metroid's been absent for a long time.
That's not happening in a million years.
Yeah, but that would be so crazy if they did that.
It would be crazy, but it's not.
You know what the craziest thing of all would be? No one would care. The general game public would still be like, Nintendo's for babies, and they wouldn't buy the Wii U.
They'd still buy the games, though. Who cares what they say? They're going to say that kind of stuff always, but the games sell.
Just
someone's buying them.
Tie things back to Quantum Break here. This is from Joystick. We jokingly asked if Quantum Break was really just a story written by Alan Wake. He said no, but added that Quantum Break deals with many timelines and universes. Definitely for Remedy fans, there will be a lot of familiar things. We're definitely dealing with the idea of multiple timelines, essentially a multiverse, where many things are possible, hinting that you will reconvene with Alan Wake at some point in the game.
Oh, God.
Okay, so it's not set in the same universe, but we might come across the universe.
What was that show
Alan
called
Wake
within the game?
past.
Like Night Springs or whatever? I could see like that kind of making an appearance, like tying it together. Maybe not directly, like Alan Wake comes and shakes your hand and says, like, remember me? I'm like, I got a flashlight. But maybe they tie it together interestingly. I mean, we could definitely do another show on next year, but just wrapping up this year, is there anything else? It feels like such a strange year because theoretically we should have got so many games, and it kind of feels empty. One thing that, if you guys don't have any other major titles to bring up, one thing I did want to ask you guys about is how is your handheld gaming life in this phase of your age? Because I used to play a ton of handheld games. I would think about them for Game of the Year, and I rarely ever pick up my Vita or 3DS anymore.
I don't pick it up.
Zelda was cool. I like Between Worlds. And,
that was very fun.
And I'm sure I don't think either of you plays Hearthstone, but that
I did play a little bit. That was
I put so much time into Hearthstone.
I like Hearthstone.
And it's
you
on
don't
iPad,
like it, or you
so
do?
I guess that counts.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting that the 3DS is one of the biggest selling systems, and again, it gets very little cover. I just feel like we're being so swamped by either the annualized franchises or the Steam-released indie games, of which there's dozens a day, it seems like.
Pokemon's already pretty worse than Call of Duty, isn't it?
What?
Yeah.
Pokemon's out like every year.
Yeah, Pokemon is a disaster. Don't get me started. Okay, like it's one thing to make a new game every year, like Assassin's Creed. Like at least you go to a different city. Pokemon is literally the exact same.
How do they not get more hate for that?
Because do you know who buys Pokemon?
Kids. They don't care.
But they still reviews well and stuff.
It does because it's still the same game.
Yeah, I mean, the same good game is still the same.
I mean, look, think about it this way: if Arno controlled really well, Assassin's Creed Unity would review well. Instead, Assassin's Creed Unity is completely broke, and Arno controls like a piece of crap. You're suggesting where he should go rather than telling him where to go. You never have full control of the character. That's the difference again between like a Mario Kart franchise and an Assassin's Creed. Mario Kart could iterate every year if it wanted to, because the baseline game is fundamentally sound. The baseline of Assassin's Creed has never been great. It got better from 1 to 2. They've made some improvements along the way, but it has never been great. And that, to me, is like, I don't know where that franchise ever gains ground unless they reboot it, because with the system in place, it is not great, and no matter how many pretty graphics or giant buildings you put on top of that foundation, it will not improve the fact that controlling that game is still subpar.
Awkward. So I call it.
Yeah, we love you, Ubisoft.
I mean, they have specifically stated that their goal is to increase gameplay hours by decreasing development hours, and you can see it when you open the map screens and bring up the legend, and there are literally 300 icons.
300 might be a little low, too.
Yeah, I mean,
it might be more than that.
It's insane. Like, I feel like a lot of games are going this route in terms of like opening up the world and filling it with boring activities and spending development time on the world and on the scope instead of realizing that great gameplay is what really drives a great game. And yet, it's much easier to advertise the humongous open world, all of the content, the 60 hours of gameplay than it is to say, hey, we've got a really cool, 9-hour story.
And that's what I don't like. I want exactly what you said. I'd rather have like a maybe 6 to 8 hour game. I don't need every game to be 40, 50 hours. Like, that's a long time to devote to one game.
Yeah, I mean, and it's different for different people too. Like, we come in a frame of mind where like, hey, we can play a bunch of games a year. We sort of do it for our job, and so that's a benefit. If you are only getting 2-3 games a year, then I can definitely see how something like Far Cry 4 would be an awesome recommendation, because you are going to get a lot out of it. Just to me, like, there needs to be a balance of, for every Far Cry 4, there should also be a Last of Us. For every Assassin's Creed, there should be a Bioshock.
I mean, Last of Us is a long game as well, isn't it? But I mean, Last of Us does drag you through it quite well.
I mean, just in the sense that it's pulling you through a linear progression, and you can't. In Far Cry, you could, theoretically run around infinitely and kill guys and fight animals.
I mean, in Last of Us, you could do that as well, but it'd be a bit insane.
Yeah, but then you're doing the exact same
You're following
level.
the exact same, roller coaster ride, theme park ride through their attraction. I think a lot about where gaming's going right now, and I'm not too happy with it. And I wonder if the indie scene is at fault, because they seem to be swiping so many of the creative people who want to do their own projects without any restrictions. And to me, I just can't get excited for a $15 game anymore. There's just so many of them. They're focused. They're good. They're great. Don't get me wrong. But a game that does one thing really well, I miss the days where we got that in our AAA titles.
Yeah. I mean, it sort of kind of eclipses what movies are right now. The exact same thing. Honestly, the middle budget movie is sort of a thing of the past. You either have indies or you have these giant, blockbusters. It's the exact same thing. And I mean, you're mentioning where gaming is going, sort of. And I wonder. I know we're running a little bit long. Sorry, but I wonder how you guys feel about episodic gaming, because they just. The Minecraft stuff is coming. Resident Evil is episodic for Revelations 2, which I'm just sort of secretly really, really excited for some reason. I have no idea why.
It's going back to its roots, though, isn't it? I mean, it's going back to the scary roots.
Yeah,
and people are excited about that.
And that's one thing I hope. I hope that Capcom is talking they're learning their lessons, and maybe the next the next big Resident Evil is going to be more like what
scary.
I think episodic gaming is really cool if it's not oversaturated. I mean, take any franchise, you could technically make it episodic. For example, I always thought Mirror's Edge would have been a great episodic game where you had to run a specific mission and go do that, an hour of gameplay, and then the stories could kind of connect together. But if you had 5 different free-running games doing episodic content, you'd be like, ugh, I don't really want this. And to me, that's what Telltale has done. They're appealing to everyone. Their company is probably skyrocketing. They're selling so many more units. But to me, it ruins it knowing that they literally are making the exact same game within different franchises, same visual style, same concepts, same lack of evolution or improvement from season to season. That just kills it for me. I think episodic gaming is really cool, but nobody wants to focus and make it great. They kind of want to, again, just exploit, just like annualized Assassin's Creeds, or remakes of remakes for Pokemon.
I mean, how are they honestly gonna? I mean, how many games will we have at the end of this? At the end of 2015, how many Telltale games are we gonna have?
Yeah,
it's just gonna be.
That's ridiculous. Minecraft,
so confusing.
Really?
It's got to be. I mean, nothing against them. They have made some really good stuff. Walking Dead, I still love. Wolf Among Us seemed to really, hit home with some people. But, is it really easy for them to throw, hire a writer, throw this together? They've already got the engine. They've already got, the systems in place, and basically just put stickers over what they've already built. And, I mean, they could do Sesame Street. They could do, Disney stuff. They could do... I mean, really, they could. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see
I'm laughing because it's true.
I mean, you could see an iOS, Mickey Mouse, or an iOS Pixar type. Take the Cars franchise, for example, which sells insanely well to children. Telltale makes Cars an episodic game where you get to be, Lightning McQueen and beep around the city. People would buy the heck out of that. It would be an Apple bestseller.
Is that Disney Infinity?
I mean, Disney Infinity.
Disney probably wouldn't allow that, but I see what you're saying.
Real quick, 60 seconds. What is your feeling on figurine-based games? Because this year we had Skylanders, Infinity, and Amiibos, which, by the way, are selling out.
I'm bit. I think you are too. I think we're both bit by the Amiibo bug. They're awesome. I like them.
I like them.
Just having the figurines.
I don't like them for their gameplay.
Yeah, they do nothing. But I like the figurines. I like sitting them on my desk and in front of my TV. They're cool.
Such geeks.
I think it's one thing that stands out to me in 2014, and maybe it's been coming for a few years. Maybe it'll change. I don't know. Maybe this is a very dark and dreary look on the industry. But as the gaming space has grown, as there's been more dollars, there seems to be such a drive to just make money, whether it's by selling useless figurines, by annualizing your franchise, by doubling down on known properties. I feel like 5 years ago, companies really had the focus of making a great game to try to get out there, review well, and sell well. And now it seems that mentality has evaporated from most of the top publishers. Maybe the studios are still focused on it, but it's like, we want to make money. We've got this mega industry that is, growing consistently. We're incorporating, younger people, older people, the female audience, and there's so many dollars to be had that it's like, just like the Apple Store, it's like, how can we quickly cash in, get out, make the most, squeeze the piggy bank as hard as we can while the going's good. And for the hardcore of us, I feel like we end up kind of losing out.
I don't understand why some of these companies aren't thinking more like long term though, because Ubisoft can't continue like this. They can't keep continuing.
Why do you say that? Because the funny thing is, even though me and you would say that, and Gabe would say that, Ubisoft would tell us you're freaking crazy because we're making more money than we've ever made. We're selling more copies than we've ever sold. We're making more money than we've ever made, and they will continue to do so next year.
No, they have to know that there's a certain limit to that.
Yeah,
they can't do this for 5 more years and expect it to continue.
But look at Activision. They ran Guitar Hero into the ground, then they ran Call of Duty into the ground, and they will continue. They'll probably run Destiny into the ground.
All right. So is that what we're waiting for? We're waiting for Ubisoft to run Assassin's Creed into the ground so they can find something new.
I think they already have that though. Once Assassin's Creed gets run to the ground, Watch Dogs will take over the helm, and once Watch Dogs does, the Division.
I don't think Watch Dogs is that game. I think they want it to be that game. I don't think it is.
I think the second one will be better.
I just think that's their plan. I don't think when they run Assassin's Creed in the ground, they're going to stop and say, "Oh my God, we need to start making good games." I think they're going to say, "Who can we scramble to find an iconic character to make another yearly franchise around?" What is it? Pirates, space aliens, detectives, police officers. That's what they're going to go for. I don't think they're going to stop and say, "Hey, maybe we should pour, $100 million into this new UbiArt game that's actually going to be good." I think they're just going to say, "Okay, well, the assassins have, slowly died off, and so now it's time to find." Like, honestly, with Irrational dissolving, with Naughty Dog seeming to change course a little bit as well in terms of possibly falling into the sequelitis sickness, I don't know who to trust to make really great games that are unique and original.
Half-Life 3.
Yeah. What year is that coming out? 3,333?
Actually, it's coming out tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I saw this great tweet today, which was I think you actually retweeted it, Gabe, about they get up there, put the Half-Life 3 symbol on the E3 screen, and then it says Telltale presents Half-Life 3.
Yeah, I think that might have been me. Yeah, that was
hilarious.
God, 2015. I think it's going to be a lot better, and we will definitely talk about that next time. For now, 2014 sort of leaves a sour taste in our mouth. Any shout-out you want to give to one game that, whether it reviewed well or not, you personally just love this year?
Valiant Hearts.
I've never played that. Is it worth playing?
I love the World War II stuff, and I think I literally felt like I was going to cry at the end.
Yeah, I mean it's a really
super
emotional
light.
story.
Yeah, pretty good.
All right, now you go, Ghost, while I think of mine.
I mean, Sunset Overdrive is what I would say. I know I've talked about that all year. I'm trying to think if there's something a little more under the radar. This has no quality game design, but I'm going to say it anyways. There's a game on Xbox One called Drawful, and it's part of this You Don't Know Jack suite of games, and it's $25, and you get 5 different games. Drawful is the most fun I've had with a video game, if you call it a video game, the entire year. Basically what happens is everybody gets on their phone, and with your finger, it gives you a crazy thing, draw a vampire ballerina, and you have to draw it, and then people type in what they think it is, and everyone has to vote on what it really is. Almost like Boulder Dash, but with pictures, if you ever played that board game.
Sounds like that PC game, Draw My Thing, that a lot of YouTubers play.
Yeah, it's a lot like that, but they do have this voting mechanic that makes things really gel, and it's an interesting integration of tablets and console. I mean, it's not doing anything graphically spectacular at all, but it's just kind of cool. It feels like a futuristic family game because you're all sitting there drawing things on your phone, but then everyone looks up on the screen to see the big picture on the screen and the different, you can vote on maybe I drew a vampire ballerina and it's horrible, so Scott thinks, it's a picture of Gabe or something. And so then they have to vote on, is it Gabe or is it that? And they always throw in a crazy answer. But it's really good about its variety and the pacing, and it's just it's a terribly stupid game with probably costs, a few thousand to make, but it's the, honest to God, most fun I've had with a console the entire year.
Wow.
All right, so those are yours, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna give you 3 little games because they're really little games that no one played. All right, one, Gauntlet. It was only on PC. That game is super fun. I played that with my friends. It's short. It's really just Gauntlet. Very reminiscent of Gauntlet Legends. If you
guys a little Diablo stuff, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but more action oriented and less having to upgrade stuff.
Okay.
Number 2, Strider. I don't know if you guys played that earlier.
That was pretty cool.
I thought Strider was like super fun, and like I said, I like these older games.
Strider kind of reminds me of like a condensed version of like a DMC or like a Bayonetta. Like the boss battles are really demanding, and you have a smaller moveset, obviously, but like you can do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and the harder difficulties, man.
What console did that come out on? I haven't played that.
It's on PS. It's on PSN. It's on.
Is it downloadable?
Yeah, it's downloadable. Yeah, no, it's on PS4. I played on PS4.
Okay. Oh.
It looked pretty good. I mean, not like blow your mind good, but it was.
Yeah, but the gameplay is just so sound.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, and
that was
the last
February release, by the way.
Yeah, last one, the Banner Saga. That game was really cool too. If you're into strategy games, that's on PC only right now, but it's coming to PS4. And
they came out with their single player finally, didn't they?
Yeah, okay. that game is great.
Now, do you like it for single player or for multi?
Both.
Okay.
The game is just great overall.
Because what's weird about that one is it initially came out in 2012, and like it's sort of been
slowly
forming itself to be a full product.
Was it an early access game then?
No, well, it's fully out now.
It just started as multiplayer only, right?
Yeah, well, even the multiplayer stuff had story stuff going on.
Okay.
So the story in it's really good, and the gameplay, like I said, super traditional strategy game. So if you like things like Final Fantasy Tactics and stuff like that, it'll be right up your alley.
Sweet.
I think it's one of those games that I own that I never played on that Steam. that list is just endless.
The infamous Steam list that you've played like 20% of the games.
Yeah.
I know we got to wrap up, but I'm going to bring in one last little nugget of thought to leave everyone on, which is, do you think that in some way the YouTube scene is also, for better or worse, ruining some elements of gaming, in the sense that a game like Five Nights at Freddy's, which is by all means a horrible game, gets extreme popularity, and then you have these smaller studios trying to create games that will elicit a reaction from YouTubers, knowing that a PewDiePie video is more worthwhile than a TV, ad, and so you have things being made and created for the Goat Simulators, the Five Nights at Freddy's, the I Am Breads. Obviously, these aren't, maybe one day they do shift into like made by EA, made by Ubisoft, but it's weird how I think YouTube is growing rapidly. Video game journalism is declining slowly. Are we going to soon be the ones that are dictating where the attention goes? And perhaps do we have a little more responsibility to really, put forth the games we think are good rather than just following the crowd and playing all of the quote big hits?
You're saying it's going that way? I think it's already there.
Yeah.
I think I say we, I don't mean me. I mean people like you with bigger channels.
Okay, we love your channel. Don't say that.
YouTube does 100% dictate. Having a positive, not a review, but the type of stuff that Total Biscuit does,
right.
that helps those indie teams like crazy.
Sure.
And even him bashing it, that's led to a few things. I don't know if you guys keep up with his stuff throughout the year, but close to lawsuits happening because he's, he says negative things about the game, and then developers take down his game, illegally, crazy stuff. I think YouTube is where it's at. Nobody wants to. I mean, I know there's people like us that still enjoy it, but nobody wants to sit there and read 3 pages of a review when you can watch a 5-minute video. You know what I mean?
But hopefully they want to sit here and watch or listen to a 90-minute podcast, right?
Yeah, no, podcast is where it's at.
All right, we will wrap things up right here, right now. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you're having a great holiday break. We'll probably come back soon with a 2015 look forward and dive a little bit deeper into games like Batman Arkham Knight, Witcher 3, Uncharted 4, Halo Fun, and the rest of the slate. But big thanks to you guys for donating your free time to listening to us, and big thanks to Game Riot and Volatile Gabe for being a part of this. Guys, any closing thoughts?
Go Packers.
Oh, God.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, that's happening. Yeah, happy holidays.
Christmas, man. I feel like every year Christmas gets less and less exciting. I'm like a bad person for saying that, but man.
Yeah, I forgot that it was happening.
Like when I was little, I would count down the days so hardcore. I'd be up at 5 a.m. on Christmas morning, like just sitting there patiently waiting for people to wake up. And now I like sleep in. I'm like, did people open presents? What's going on?
Yeah, it's stressful.
It's normal day, isn't it?
Welcome to the adult world. We will hopefully have some more fun with games in 2015. We'll be back to talk about that soon. Until that time, though, guys and girls, thanks again. Hit that like button if you enjoyed. Drink some hot chocolate, and we will see you all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Was it a close game then, or what?